Hi, how
Hi.
are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm really happy to meet you, and I appreciate you being so open
Yeah, thank you.
and coming on here. So I'm just gonna state your question and
Mhm.
then just kind of give you my thoughts on it.
Okay, great. Thank you.
So Shannon's asking. So Shannon said that she witnessed a traumatic event, 2024, so
Mhm.
like almost a year ago.
Mhm.
And then since then, you haven't really been able to sleep through the night. You've
No.
been waking up every couple hours. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So can you tell me a little bit more about what you're noticing when you can't sleep? Is it your mind? Do you just feel awake? Like, what are you noticing?
So at first, it started 2 days after that event, and I noticed my mind really felt like it was just racing, going, 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 going. And I've since had some kind of resolution I mean, it's been almost 8 or 9 months now, and I've had some resolution to what I saw, like, talking it through and explanations and things like that. And I thought that that would really help me really come back down from it. Um, but anymore, when I go to sleep, I can fall asleep, but I wake up about an hour later, and then I fall asleep again, and it's just awake it's just my I just it's like bam, I'm awake. And I've been tracking it now for a few months, so I take a peek at the clock and I'm remembering every so I can log it the next day. I'm remembering every hour. But it's generally sometimes it's every 45 minutes, sometimes it's every hour. It's really at most I sleep if I'm sleeping in that time. Let's say from the time I look at the clock to the next time I look at the clock, it's 2 hours at
Okay.
most.
Okay. Got it. So a few different things are coming to me. I took a couple notes so I can hopefully hit all the points, but
Yeah.
if I miss something, let me know.
Okay.
Okay. So traumatic events, experiencing insomnia after that is extremely common. It's normal in a
Okay.
sense,
All right.
because what happens during a stressful life event like that is it comes in really big, full picture, like IMAX movie screen
Mhm.
status
Mhm.
into the brain. And
Mhm.
the part of the brain that is paying the most attention is your subconscious mind,
Right.
because that's where the survival part of the mind is stored.
Mhm.
And so the survival part of your mind is wanting to learn from your life experiences to then create a roadmap for the future to hopefully avoid something like that happening
Mm.
again,
Mhm.
which isn't necessarily the right thing to do, because this is for humans. This is a
Right.
very primitive survival response that works
Mhm.
really well for animals when they're out in the wild. For example, I have a master class, and in the master class I explain how zebra gets chased by a lion, then zebra escapes from the lion. Zebra is no longer thinking about the lion anymore because the lion's not around. But
Right.
what the zebra's brain learned from that experience is maybe what a lion smells like, what a
Mhm.
lion hears, what you hear from a lion when
Mhm.
it's maybe creeping up on you, those sorts of sensory inputs. And so
Mhm.
then the brain is looking for that, looking for those cues as zebra goes throughout her life to then protect zebra. So that works great for the animals, but for humans it doesn't make sense, because we
Mhm.
have we have memory, we have the ability to remember things. And so just as a human remembering the stressful instance, that in itself causes our subconscious to think that it's happening again or about to happen. And so then it turns on that survival response just in case, because it doesn't want you to die, right? It wants
Right.
to try to prevent that from happening. So
Right.
that's the underlying mechanism. And so step one is, okay, understanding that that's
Mhm.
how it's working. Which that then gives us the clues as to how to approach it, especially with sleep. Okay. So obviously, your brain, your subconscious isn't going to want you to sleep if it still thinks that there is a possibility of something like that happening again.
Right.
So, what's so common, and I work with a lot of people who've gone through really intense trauma, and I've been through, the ringer myself a few times, but essentially the body gets stuck in this sort of hypervigilance state.
Yeah, that's what I feel like. Yeah.
Okay. Great. So that's good news because that can be fixed. And so right now, the body and mind don't feel safe completely letting go and existing in the present moment. And that's what kind of needs to happen to be able to sleep is we have to be able to fully surrender, because when you're asleep, you're fully surrendered.
Yeah.
And that is what your brain has kind of been trying to stop happening. And it's coming from a place of good intention.
Right.
So that's like the second kind of step to this is, I know it's frustrating when you're having trouble sleeping, but your brain is looking out for you and it always has your best interest at heart. So part of this is, okay, stopping the internal battle of frustration.
Yeah.
Easier said than done.
Yeah.
But just having this awareness of, okay, my brain is on my side. My brain is on my side. And that's a good thing. But what the next step is showing your brain, basically kind of retraining your brain and your mind and your body, because they go hand in hand, is that it's okay to be still. It's okay and it is safe to just exist without doing anything. So how are you in your day-to-day life? Are you like a workaholic? Like, tell me, are you real busy? Like, what's going on during the day?
Yeah, I've always been a busybody, self-employed, but because of everything, all the stress this entire year, I've kind of stepped away from my husband and I's business. So I don't work a whole lot. I just try to keep busy, but I'm so fatigued. I just don't get a lot accomplished. I like to read and research, and I've acquired, I have all these other health problems as well. Maybe some of that, the sleep has contributed to it. But my day to day is not as productive as I would like it to be. But generally, I am a busybody. I do like to be going and getting things done. I've had to really slow down this year, but I feel like my mind isn't slowing down enough, and that's what I really would like to happen.
Okay. Okay. So the first thing that I want you to start considering is that you are exactly where you need to be.
Okay.
In this moment in time. You're exactly where you need to be. And so these feelings of thinking you should be more productive is actually an illusion. Like, that's just a kind of like a bunch of lies. Yeah. You don't need to be productive. Now is not the time to be productive. If that's not your kind of, if you're not in a flow state with that, then you're not supposed to be doing that anyways. I live my life now, not before. Before I was a hot mess. And I'm not hot mess, but like compared to now, in the sense of before, my belief system was, if I am not like the Energizer Bunny and checking off as many things as I can every single moment of every single day, then I'm a failure.
Yeah.
That's how I used to think and feel.
Yeah.
I've changed that. And it's very simple. It's simple, but now you got to do it, which is the part that is retraining yourself.
Okay.
But now I operate 100% in a flow state. So that means I only take action to do things if I'm excited about it, if it is inspiring to me, if I'm like really lit up and energized by the idea of doing it. If I don't feel that way, I don't do it in that moment, because here's the thing, things are going to get done. Everything is going to get done that needs to get done. It just is going to happen in its own timing, where it is flowing for you versus forcing it. So it's this really huge shift in how you're living in your day-to-day life. Forcing versus flowing, they are complete opposites. And this ties into sleep, because sleep, you can't force it either. It just is a passive, it comes to you, it washes over you when you're not looking for it.
Right.
And interestingly enough, a flow state is an alpha brainwave. I talk a lot about brainwaves. I'm obsessed with brainwaves. A flow state is when you're in an alpha brainwave, which is a more creative side of the brain. The right hemisphere is turned on. That's also your subconscious, is also the right hemisphere. The alpha brainwave is when you're just in the flow. Like you kind of lose track of time in the task that you're doing. You're just kind of in it. Or even if you're playing music or dancing or painting, anything creative like that is also a flow state. Even athletes, you know, the skiers, and they're going down through the moguls in the Olympics, like they're in a flow state. They're not thinking, they're just doing it. There is no thought happening.
Yeah.
So that is what I do in my day as well. And in the beginning, this is so foreign. This is like a totally weird way of living, because most people aren't living this way. Most people are in that like grind.
Yeah. I agree. That's probably how I've lived most of my life. Like my value is wrapped up in what I accomplish. Okay. But what I've also noticed too is I have anxiety and depression, and it's really increased this year with the fatigue and the lack of sleep. And so I don't find a lot of, you say do things that excite you, and I kind of feel like blasé about everything. Nothing really excites me right now. So like even you saying that, I'm like, oh, well, I'm not really sure what really excites me right now, you know?
Great question. Okay. So I have a few thoughts, but okay. When I say you do the thing that is most exciting to you in the moment, so that might be sitting on the couch and watching Netflix. Like that might not be going outside, you know, it might be something like doing nothing. That might be the most exciting thing to you in this moment. What we don't want to happen is to get stuck and in a box, like frozen. So to start kind of opening that back up within you is I want you to make a list of things that if you had the energy, if you had the enthusiasm, what would you do? How would you spend your time? If you could just do whatever the heck you wanted, how would you spend your time?
Okay.
I have a zillion things I would love to do if I had all the time in the world. Like I suck at singing. I want to learn how to sing just for the hell of it. Like I cannot sing. If I could just learn one song and go to an open mic night and do it, like I would, that's what I want to do with my time.
Yeah.
You know, I'm talking more creative things, more passions, more kind of hobbies, and think of what you liked to do as a kid. And bring one of those things back into your routine. And in the beginning, there is willpower. Like, you're going to have to force yourself to get up and go do it in the beginning. But then it gets easier. So you got to also remember that in the beginning, you are going to have to kind of power through.
Sure.
But if you enjoyed that as a kid, you're still going to enjoy it now. Like it's super simple. Like I loved fantasy books, mystery novels. Like I still love reading those today. And so anytime I'm in a funk, I'm just like out of balance. I have to force myself to pick up the Kindle. I got to force myself to press the button. I'm like, no, you know, like turning it on. And then I read a page and I'm like, and then I'm reading it and then I'm enjoying it and I'm in the flow again. But in the beginning, it is willpower. Okay. And you can do it. You can do this. So, oh my God, there's so much I could say. So we're just going to keep going. So another thing is, okay, this is my belief. If it doesn't resonate with you, that's okay. My belief is anything that shakes up our life, shakes up the way we see the world, shakes up how we feel. I believe that that is kind of a wake-up call to get your attention, to shift your life in a different direction. To not it doesn't have to be like a whole overhaul, but it's to start living in a way that you enjoy.
Yeah.
Does that
That does resonate. It's just not. I need more paper for notes.
I'll send you the recording. Don't worry about that. I'll
Oh,
send you the
okay.
recording.
All
Yeah.
right. All
Yeah.
right. Yeah, that's not. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I also,
So,
I don't know if I should mention this. I don't know. I acquired ear ringing shortly after that as well. So I
okay.
don't know. I always kind of maybe thought the ear ringing is helping cause the insomnia. It happened in both ears at the same time and started, and then has let the volume has come up.
Okay.
So
Even at night, when you're trying to sleep, you can hear the ringing.
oh yeah, yeah. Right now I can hear it. It's never stops, and
Okay.
so that's a symptom of, I'm assuming, the trauma that I saw, and I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, that's common as well.
Okay.
So, and you mentioned other health issues as well. So, all of these things, to me, there's not medical advice to anybody. To me, these are symptoms that your nervous system is in a heightened state.
Yes, I agree.
And when we come back to you loving your life, creating a life you love, those things the volume tends to go down on those, quite literally.
Yeah.
On everything across the board. So right now, you're not loving your life. Okay. And so that's your sign that that's not the life you're meant to live. You're meant to love your life. That is like what I just believe across the board for everybody. I think everyone is supposed to love their life, and anything that comes into our life that causes us pain or misery or agony, it is a sign to go in a direction that's more in alignment with your true self, with what you want. And unfortunately, a lot of the time, the only thing we're actually going to listen to is pain because it gets our attention.
Yeah.
If things are just kind of okay, mediocre, not amazing, but you're just going to float along and Groundhog Day.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And you might be living a Groundhog Day that you're not meant to live. So I want to refocus just kind of your attention on what does Shannon want for real, not based off of what anybody else thinks you should be doing. Because when I was living my life based off of how everybody else thought I should be doing, I was depressed and I was suicidal. I just was, because life sucked.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason inside of me, I've always been kind of like a dreamer, half glass kind of full, in the sense of like, I just feel it's more that I feel within me that there's a better way. There's gotta be a better way.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
And we can feel that in us. It's there. It's just that we haven't been making steps towards that. And that's what feels so shitty.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And I think when it's like, in my situation, the impact is family. So how do you
just brought up my favorite topic ever. That's my favorite topic. Oh man. Okay. So, what do you mean by family? Just summarize. You don't have to give me the details, but just like,
yeah.
Is it obligations to family? Is it, they think you should be doing something else, or,
No, the largest impact is, I have a son who got married and then estranged from the entire family. And that's huge. That's very impactful. And we don't know why. And then he had a child in the past year. So we have a grandchild we don't know. This is prolific. It's everywhere. I run into people now all the time that I thought, you think you're the only one, but it's everywhere. And and then I have a daughter, and not completely happy with her choice of husband, and their
Okay.
situation, and just little things, just not little, but things like that. Things like
Sure.
that I
Sure.
just have no control over. And I know that I'm not unrealistic. It's just how do I go about getting over the thought that there may not be reconciliation with the child,
Sure.
basically. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. This is really really important. So you hit the nail on the head in the sense that yeah, you don't have control.
Hmm.
We don't have control. And we don't have control over most things,
Right.
which is like kind of scary in the beginning. Um okay. So this is going to get into we're going to go in a different direction here, which is kind of a perspective that I don't usually share that openly that I have, but I want to just lay it all out there for you and take what resonates. So, yes, we all have family,
Mhm.
and just because we're family, I know this is so much harder because they're your kids.
Yeah.
So it's like a whole other level for you.
Yeah.
But they're and I'm sure you've thought of this as well, and I mean this with so much love, is like they're also here to live their own life and learn their
Right.
own lessons.
Right.
They're here to
Hmm.
learn their own lessons,
Hmm.
and they're only going to learn that through their own experience.
Hmm.
And it's if we have to kind of make our own mistakes
Hmm.
until we figure it out on our own, because the best teacher is your own life experience.
Sure. Yeah.
And so the tendency that the brain has is to think that the way things are right now is permanent and it's
Mm.
always going to be this way.
Yeah.
But that's not true. That's just the brain kind of trying to prepare you for worst case scenarios if things never change. But
Hmm.
things are always temporary in life. Like things are way more temporary than they ever are permanent.
Yeah, I agree.
So part of this because I know that this is all of these things contribute to stress.
Yeah.
And stress affects your sleep. So
Hmm.
I also kind of want you to start detaching the link between the traumatic event, and your sleep,
Mm. Okay.
because there is usually kind of like a mixture of things going on, and it's not necessarily that because I had this thing happen in my life now I have all these problems. I think it's much more complex than that.
Yeah, I
But
always said that situation back in December was like the straw that broke the camel's back. I was
yeah,
already in a heightened sense with my nervous system, and that was the trigger that just made it everything kind of fall apart. And
exactly.
yeah.
And so with your kids, they got to figure it out on their own.
Hmm.
All the best thing that you can do is just love them from afar
Yeah.
and sit with that, because your energy can impact them even if you're not communicating.
Right.
They
Yeah,
can
I
still
agree.
feel that subconsciously. And so you've probably already tried to change the way they're doing things or redirect the way that they're doing things, I imagine.
Not not with my son, no.
Okay,
But my daughter, I mean, I have a relationship with my daughter, but so
sure.
we have communication.
Okay. So they already, what I mean by that is they probably already know like what you would prefer. Like you would prefer to communicate at least.
Yeah,
At,
yeah, I've
like
made that known.
exactly, that's what I mean. So like they already kind of know your preference.
Yeah.
And the fact that they haven't really changed much means that you're not the one who's gonna kind of wake them up out of
Mm,
the situation.
okay.
It's gonna come in a different way.
Yeah. Huh.
I just got chills as I said that.
I never thought of it from that perspective. I mean, I will say I have thought about like he's had some bad influences,
Sure.
but not that could be like somebody teaching him. You don't want to say a lesson, just what you just said. It's not going to be me. It's going to be somebody else. And you hope that it's the right thing.
Yeah. And that's where trusting that there's some bigger picture at play. We just don't know what it is in this moment in time. But there is something at play. Just as your pain is trying to get you to live a life that you love and not be stressed out of your mind all of the time, it's the same thing with everyone else.
Yeah.
And it's just when it's family that it's harder because we feel more emotionally attached.
Yeah.
But the best thing that you can do is, and I know it's, easier said than done as well, but understanding that, or at least considering the possibility that you're not the one who's going to get through to them. It's going to come in some other way, but it is going to happen at some point. At least be open to that possibility.
Okay.
I call these people kind of like messengers, at least in my life. It's kind of like you've heard the same thing a million times, but for some reason that one person said it in a way that finally clicked and you're like, oh, now I get it.
Right.
We all have that. And you're just not the messenger right now. Right now.
Yeah.
They're not ready to hear it. And so it doesn't mean you won't ever be the messenger, but right now is not the right timing, or it's going to come in some other way for them.
Okay.
So the best thing that you can do is refocus on what's in your own control, obviously, which is what kind of life do you want to live? Like, you're not loving it right now. So if we had just like a blank slate and could be like, what do I want? And baby steps, and some things might get shaken up.
They already have it, and it's so scary. Yeah.
So instead of, yes, scary because it's unknown, but unknown can be good as well. It's just that in this moment in time, you don't know how it's going to unfold, which would be boring anyways, because then we would just be psychic and predict everything, and all of us would just be dumb.
That would be the point, right?
Yeah. So unknown can be good. It's just right now it looks kind of bad. Right now it's not what you would prefer. But it usually things get shaken up on the way to something that's better, because things have to kind of fall apart for something to be born.
Okay.
So that's how I think about things.
Yeah.
So when shit hits the fan in my life, instead I'm like, okay, things are deconstructing because something new is going to be built and it can't be on the old foundation.
Yeah, I like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so to help you, I teach this thing in my sleep success course called, I guess I call them like positive what if statements.
Yeah.
Because our tendency is the negative what ifs.
Yes.
But if you're going to consider the negative what ifs, you got to consider at least the positive what ifs as well, because now you're balanced at least. Otherwise, you're just top heavy, and that's not accurate. It's not accurate because we don't technically know. So if you're going to try to predict the future, at least try to predict something that you prefer.
Right.
Because that's what we're doing all the time. We're trying to predict the future and we're just assuming it's all going to be terrible. So anything that's like, what if this bad thing happens? You're going to catch yourself and then you're going to do, what if this turns out way better than I could have ever expected?
Okay. What ifs? Positive. Just kind of flip the script and retrain my mind in that way. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So what if this ends up being way easier than I thought? What if this is way faster than I thought? What if the flight was canceled, but it's because it was going to crash? So I'm better off here, Yeah,
that is so foreign. I mean, I know many people that have lived their lives that way, but it's not the way I've lived. I kind of scoffed at that thinking, but maybe it is something that I need to implement.
It's worth trying out.
Mhm.
Experiment. Life isn't a big experiment anyways.
Right.
So it's like, okay, if I'm going to consider the worst case, I might as well also consider the best case.
Okay. Yeah. Best case. Okay.
Because a lot of the time, the worst case usually doesn't happen.
Right.
If we're thinking of like all of the times that we've considered the worst case
right.
in our life, most of the time
true.
that's not the one that ends up happening. And
Right.
so you're basically just feeling bad for no reason.
Right. Doesn't
On
make
repeat.
sense, does it? Right.
Yeah, doesn't make sense. So when we consider, so like if you say like, what if tomorrow's the best I've ever had in my entire life and it's just magical and I didn't even see it coming? Like it feels awesome. Like you feel a physiological response in your body just by phrasing it in that way.
Yeah.
And that is actually training your brain to produce different chemicals that make you feel good instead of depressed.
Right. Right. Yeah. Okay. I can do it. I've done that before. it's not like a habit.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's
It's just,
so, and I understand it took me a long while to get this way, you know, so it's going to take a good long while to probably reverse.
No, Shannon, no.
No.
It
Okay,
doesn't have to take a long time.
No.
It doesn't have to take a long
All
time.
right. Yeah, I just said it backwards, didn't I? I should be saying, no, this is going to be great. It's going to really come easy and it's going to fall right in line. Yeah.
People say this, people ask me this a lot, you know, they'll be like, I had insomnia for 30 years. And so it's going to take me years to sleep better. I'm like, no, the brain and the body change quickly when you give them the new information to work with.
Okay.
It's like 21 days to make a new habit, 30 max, right?
Yeah.
And that's just because you're doing something differently than you've done it before. And the brain learns that fast. Okay. So it can be 30 days. If you're like all in and you're like, I'm going to like just live like this is going to be the best day of my life ever. And I'm going to do things that I actually like. You know, I'm going to get out of my comfort zone, but put myself in environments where I feel good. Things are positive. Turn off the news. It's a bunch of crap. You know, remove all negativity, all of it, all of it. And create a little bubble for yourself as an experiment.
Well, I have created a bubble, but my problem is my thoughts. And, you know, I don't have much social life. I don't do a whole lot. So I've created this bubble where I've gone in and to avoid having any obligations or people or, you know, and I know it's not normal. You know, I know I probably do need to think about doing something different.
Yeah. So I'm not against a bubble, because sometimes we gotta cut people out and drown out the negative noise.
Yeah.
So we can get clear on what we want, like what you want for real without any kind of external influence. I've done things in my life where I haven't told anybody and they're like big decisions, you know, and I just didn't say it because I didn't want them in my ear. Right. I didn't want to hear their opinion. Right. I didn't want it. Yeah. I knew what I wanted. And so I was just going to go do it.
Yeah.
And so that's the bubble I'm envisioning for you, where you're saying, okay, like all of these things are getting my attention. And now I am the one to take some sort of step in a different direction. And one step at a time. One step at a time, and it's going to lead you somewhere new. Because anytime you do something different than what you've done before, there's going to be a new result.
Yeah.
Because if you've done it differently, and same thing with thinking differently, there will be a new result as well. Yeah. And you can do this. You really can do this. You can do this. So less of And some other things that you mentioned where you had mentioned, I have anxiety and depression, and you don't have those things. You're just experiencing kind of the symptoms of those things in this moment in time.
Yeah.
But it is not a forever permanent experience.
Yeah.
So remembering, and a lot of this is remembering that these things are temporary. Same thing with the sleep stuff. It's all temporary. And it's just to force you to freaking live your life in a way you actually want.
Got to figure that out.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
And that should be exciting. It can be exciting.
Yeah.
And if you don't know, because I know it's like business, work, the obligations of life, got to pay the bills, that kind of thing. And maybe that's not where you start. Maybe you just start with what's something that I just want to do for fun, for the hell of it.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah.
Because you got to you got to get yourself out of the current energy that you've been.
Right. Which is very, very low. Low
and
energy.
You can do it.
Yeah.
You can do it.
Okay.
All
right.
Let me see if there's anything else that I wanted. Oh, there was one more thing. So you mentioned that you're kind of tracking how much you've been waking up. Just stop. You don't need to do that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't track it at all. I would place the least amount of attention on the number of hours you're sleeping as possible.
Okay. Yeah,
so
makes sense.
If you're tracking it on like a device or something, turn it off. Don't look at it. Instead, during the middle of the night, if you're frustrated, I usually suggest putting on some background noise, like an audiobook. And there's this sleep headband you can get on Amazon. It's like a little headband with headphones. It's actually really comfortable to lay on your side on and stuff. That's what my clients get. And put on something good for background noise, like a podcast, audiobook.
Even to go to sleep.
Yeah, just so you're not bored and battling internally with your mind.
Yeah, sometimes I do that, but I have been getting my phone out of my room for the the EMF stuff. I didn't really want that in the room. Thinking that could have been a possibility.
I get that question a lot too. And there's like, who knows? Maybe EMFs have some impact on it, but we live in a world with
it's
everywhere.
Right.
So I don't personally place any attention on EMFs. Like, I'm like the worst at it, really. I just think that a lot of things go into your health, a lot of different things.
For sure.
And so if the phone for now can be a tool, a resource to kind of help you sleep, then I would use it. And just see what happens. One night of not having it, one night of Wi-Fi on your phone, next to you. Not gonna do anything. Not gonna do anything. There are ways where you can actually download things and have your phone on airplane mode.
Right.
And then that doesn't. Then that solves the problem. A lot of my clients do that as well.
Yeah.
So just look into that, play around with it.
So stop tracking it. Yeah, and I kind of thought that, just tracking it's probably building my anxiety because I'm having to cognitively say, okay, I woke up, when I wake up, I got to remember that for the next morning or come morning, and then I take a little note in my phone and write down all my wake times and
it's like, you already know you're not really sleeping, so we don't need to rub it in and write it all down. I have found some people do that. Okay. I've just found that trains your mind to over fixate on sleep. And that doesn't help you get more sleep.
No, not at all.
So that's why I do it that way.
Okay.
Cool. Well, thank you, Shannon. I really hope that this helped you.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
If you're ready to experience your own sleep transformation, start with my free masterclass to help you sleep naturally. You can find that in the description below.